Welcome into Senior Living Live, everybody. My name is Melissa, and we certainly appreciate you all joining us today to be a part of our discussion about downsizing. It is one of the many topics we have up on our website, www.seniorlivinglive.com. So today, we want you to be a part of our discussion. Join us in our question and answer session at the end of the webinar, which should last about 45 minutes to an hour. And it is, of course, featuring our fantastic guest, Gina Holsopple of Moves for Seniors. Now, if you have a question, you can scroll down to the bottom of your screen where it says Ask a Question. Feel free to type in your questions at any point throughout the webinar. Just hit post and we will get to your questions and have those answered in the last 15 minutes or so of our webinar. Now, our guest speaker, Gina Holsopple. Fantastic lady. I had the joy of speaking with her a couple of weeks ago about this very topic. She is the Client Services Manager at Moves for Seniors, and she is an experienced senior move management professional. Now, get this, she has personally performed over 500 senior transition projects in customers' homes throughout her career. So yeah, I'm going to call her an expert on this topic, and we are so glad she could join us here today. Gina, the floor is all yours. Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome to all of you. Thanks for joining us today. I really look forward to getting started and helping you on your journey into your new community and helping you with all of your questions. And I'm ready whenever you are to get this started. So as Melissa said, I'm working for a company called Moves for Seniors. Moves for Seniors is the nation's largest organization dedicated to senior transition and moving. We have served over 10,000 seniors in the past 5 years throughout the US. And as we have grown, we are in 48 states. I personally am responsible for the entire Philly metro area. We are based, our national headquarters is in Wayne, Pennsylvania, and it's just outside of Philadelphia. And so as recently as Monday, I did 3 moves into senior retirement. So we are very, very knowledgeable in the area and very excited to, again, help you through your journey. Moves for Seniors offers a very comprehensive concierge type service. And as you can see, we offer all of the services that are available in order to get you from your current home to your new home. Okay, so we can find you a senior move specialist, someone like myself, who can come in and help you with your downsizing and resettling. And we can arrange for local moves for you, and then also those long distance moves. If you need assistance with any type of decluttering or junk removal, or you need storage solutions, we can, and if you have a donation center or someone that you continually like to use for donations, we can coordinate all of that for you. And we also do a lot of work in the estate distribution. We use online auctions, and I'll be giving you a lot more information on that as we go along. So the first thing I just wanted to talk to you about was the definition of transition, because I will be saying that throughout the presentation, and I just wanted to give you an idea of what I mean by a transition in terms of moving. So a transition is that process that takes you from your current home to your new home, and what the hope is that through this transition, you'll know that your possessions have been disposed of or moved and placed appropriately and safely. And the final part of a transition is having someone there to help you and to make sure that you are settled in successfully into your new home so that you can begin some of your new adventures in your new community. And of course, as with all things, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like any story. So we have to start somewhere. So the best way to get started is with organization. And I'm sure that everyone here has heard this many, many times. So and it is one of the hardest things to do, but with all of us kind of being, in home and looking around at our things, now is the best time to really look at what you have and decide what you want to take and decide how this is all going to happen and get some help creating a plan. So if you need help, there are lots of people out there that can help you, and a transition specialist is one of them. So you would want to consider meeting with a transition specialist. We provide a 1 to 2 hour free consultation just to get a look at everything and talk to you, get to know what those important items are to you that you will feel comfortable taking with you or leaving behind. And then we start creating the plan. When it comes to disposing of what isn't coming with you, this can be kind of a difficult time for a lot of us. And so we do discuss what you might want to reappropriate to family. Now, what I mean by that is maybe you have family that doesn't live nearby, but you want to send or ship something, I don't know, out into Iowa to your daughter who lives in Iowa, and you want to send her a piece of art or something or another item that you know that she has always wanted, but you know that you can't take with you. As I said, we're in 48 states, so we can organize something like a long distance move to get that item safely to a family member, a friend, whomever. The auction piece is very interesting. I actually just completed an auction in a home in New Jersey, and it's a wonderful opportunity, especially now when we really don't want people in our homes doing an estate sale, or we need to know who's coming and going. So the auction is an online auction, and it's something that can be done. It depends on how many items that you have to auction, but it's definitely something to think about if you have several items moving from maybe a larger home, or maybe you had things in storage previously and you know that they do have value, but you're just not quite ready to let them go to a donation center, or to trash removal. It's definitely a wonderful idea to discuss with your organizer. Storage is another thought of what to do with items that aren't coming with you. A lot of times I do discourage storage only because storage can be very expensive. Okay, so if you're only storing something because you don't know what to do with it, and you think you're going to come back and revisit it, okay, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months from now, you might go back and revisit it and still get rid of it. So let's make the decision now. And that again goes back to meeting with that transition specialist that can help you decide your best plan. And then finally, there's the clean outs, the final clean out. There's always trash. I mean, it just is the nature of the beast. And then of course there's debris removal that can always be handled, and a plan can be created by the transition specialist so that when you leave your home and you wind it down, you feel comfortable and you know that everything has been taken care of. So I put this picture in here for Move Day, and it's kind of funny when you look at it. There's somebody kind of stuck under some boxes, and I think I would say most, if not all, of my clients, by the time I get to them, by the time they finally call me and kind of not necessarily wave the white flag, but at least know that they really need some help. This is how they feel. They feel that they are buried. Okay. So we have your best interest in mind. Okay. And that is why it's great to let the professionals do the work. It's going to help decrease your stress. There's not going to be a stress-free move. Okay. I always like to, I like to say I will make it as stress-free as possible, but there's no such thing as a stress-free move. It's just, watching your items, seeing your things, moving, being touched by strangers. It's a very stressful time, and it's a very stressful time right now in our country. So, but anything that's going to decrease your stress level and get you through this so that you can get settled into your new community, that is the goal of your facilitation professional and your movers. And it's also the goal of your community. They want you to come in there and live your best life. They want you to be happy. They want you to ask questions. And they are there to help you just like we are there to help you. So the best thing that you can do is ask questions and just understand that we all want what you want. We want you to have a successful move and be ready to just live your best life. So we included this little piece here about our safety during COVID, because I think it's really important for everyone to understand that COVID, it's changed so much for all of us. And it has really changed how moves have occurred and will occur. And I truly feel that this is our new normal, especially in the communities. Your safety and your health in the community, the people that live in the community, the people that work in the community, that is our number one priority. So we are constantly keeping up with the CDC guidelines. In the beginning, I'm sure that everyone here would agree, the guidelines changed so quickly and so often that we felt that we needed to put something together to ensure that our movers, which are already licensed and vetted, that they are also following all of the procedures necessary to keep you safe. So not only are they licensed and vetted as to their professional backgrounds, our movers, they are constantly cleaning their trucks. They wear full PPE. They have their temperatures taken, and we follow all and with no questions asked, we follow all of the proper PPE requirements of the communities. And we are very, very much in touch with our movers at all times during a move to make sure that your move is done safely. So let's talk about, we're kind of going to go back to what I was starting to talk about, and creating a plan. So a floor plan is a great way to get started about making decisions. Okay, so this is a beautiful floor plan of the West Chase, and I'm looking at it, and it's perfect because what it shows right here are all of the pieces that they're the necessary ones. Okay, so we have the bed, the 2 nightstands, the dresser, a TV on the dresser or a TV that could be hung, and then there's a chair over in the corner, and that's in the bedroom. In the living room area, there is a sofa, and there are 2 end tables probably, and there are lamps on those end tables. There's another chair for seating. There's a little bistro table there with 2 kitchen chairs, and there's a coffee table. And of course, there is an entertainment center and another TV as well. And then there are chairs at the breakfast bar leading into the kitchen. So when you look at that and you see what can fit comfortably into the community, that's when you place all of those items first, okay? And then you can start going back and making decisions about the extra spaces. Now, when I look at this floor plan, it does not have a lot of extra wall space, for example. So if you have a lot of art, it's going to be a time where you're going to have to make a decision about what art is nearest and dearest for you and what you feel that you want to decorate with, okay? You may have other chairs or other pieces of furniture. And yes, there are many ways to rearrange a room, of course, but you need to remember you're moving into a smaller space, okay? And what fit perfectly in your current home may not fit perfectly in your new home. And it's okay. It's okay, because I am certain that with some thought and some planning, that this can all be taken care of. It's also a time to think about that closet space. So if you have a lot of clothes, a lot of shoes, a lot of extra items that you think that you would normally store in your closet, it's time to think, what are the most important things? Okay. So one of the things that we use, and it's a wonderful tool, is we have the capability of doing what we call a room rover. So just as much as floor plans make decisions, you may say, okay, I get it. I see the floor plan. How are you going to know if you are, I'm in Pennsylvania and you're in Florida or, in another state? How am I going to know how to walk you through your house and decide what will and will not go to your new apartment? Well, the ROOMROVER video is very much like FaceTime, and it's a very easy app that can be downloaded. And what would happen is the app is downloaded, and you would get a call, and we would get connected. And the next thing you know, we're talking, we can see each other. We are talking to one another, just like FaceTime. And right now, I really am assuming that everyone is familiar with FaceTime and Zoom. So this is probably nothing new to you that I'm speaking of. The difference with the ROOMROVER, though, is that the ROOMROVER is recording as we are walking through your apartment, your current home, or wherever you are living at this moment. And as we are going through your kitchen and your living room and your master bedroom and your basement, perhaps, or your attic, anywhere through your house, the video is recording, and it is dropping into what we call a cube sheet. So it's keeping track of all of those pieces of furniture that you're saying that you want to take with you. And then the size of that piece of furniture is calculated. It is put in a sheet, just like a mover would use for an on-site when they would come and give you an on-site and go around your house to give you an estimate. We would go room by room tell me everything that you want, um, all of your expectations, all of your intentions, and then we would get a full inventory so that not only would you be getting a very accurate estimate as to how much it would cost for you to move, we have a wonderful, very accurate idea of what can actually fit comfortably in your new home. So just as an example, if you're looking here at another floor plan, okay, and I was doing a room rover with you, you would say, okay, I love this leather chair, it has to go. I love this leather chair, it has to go. This coffee table, I'm not sure if it'll fit. The room rover is going to record that for you, and it's going to give us the dimensions so that we know it fits in that floor plan. And with that accurate information, and with the fact that this video is being recorded, you can share this recording with your family when it is completed, so that perhaps they haven't been, perhaps you don't live close to family members or friends that you need advice from on what you should or should not take. You can send them this video and they can see, oh, I forgot you had that leather chair. Yes, you should totally take that. Or no, if you're looking for help from your family and your friends, we can arrange that so that they can feel like they are part of this as well. And the beautiful thing about this also is it can be shared with the community too. Should you have questions, and perhaps the community, the sales leader is the only person that you can speak to at the moment, that this can also be shared with them as well. So everyone is on the same page. So here's our floor plan, okay? And on the left, and on the right is an idea of a living room. Okay, as you can see, it's a beautiful room. It has lots of furniture, built-in bookshelves, pictures, just all decorated, lovely. Okay, so looking at that, and then looking to the left at the floor plan, we know that that living room is not going to be able to be replicated in the new floor plan. Another thing that you also have to remember is we need to keep this area safe, and not just comfortable, but it also needs to be safe for you as well. Okay, so this is where you need to start thinking of a system where you're only taking the things that you truly love, okay, and that you truly use. So I have a little system. You don't have to use this system, but just gives you an idea of how I encourage my clients to start thinking about what they truly would like to take. And I call it love it, use it, lose it. So I usually, even though this is not a piece that would be in the living room, I always like to use an example. So I don't know if I can be put up on the screen for just a second so that you can see, but this is my example of something I love. So this is a turkey plate, obviously. And my first Thanksgiving with my husband over 25 years ago, I walked into his grandmother's table laid with these plates. And I just fell in love with them. It just was such, it was such a sweet reminder. And it just made me feel so good when I saw these dishes. So I do remember making such a big fuss, and my husband's grandmother was, she was very young at the time. So we were very lucky to have her for over 20 years of our married life. It was fun having grandparents again. And so every year and I have 3 boys, so every year we would use these dishes for Thanksgiving, and I would always say it was a big joke in the family, "Oh, I get the dishes. Someday I get the dishes." And, even though I'm the granddaughter-in-law and she had other daughters, I always said, they're for me. These are my dishes." Do I love them? Yes. Okay. Do I use them? Yes, I use them once a year. But it is okay to be sentimentally attached to an item. Okay. It's very important for all of us to realize that there are items that we need for ourselves. And this is one of my items. It's a set of 10. I will always make sure that there is a space in my closet or under my bed or, in a storage area for these dishes for as long as I possibly can. They have a sentimental value to me. My husband's grandmother was one of the hardest working people I've ever met. She was a cook for some of the most very affluent people in the area. For example, on our first Thanksgiving, she had already been to the Breyer's house and Breyer's ice cream. She had been to the Breyer's house and already laid out their entire Thanksgiving meal, and then came home and did our Thanksgiving meal. And she was 73 at the time, and she did work for another 20 years after that for many of the very affluent families in the area, and raised their children. And they thought of her very, very fondly. And this is just something that reminds me of a simpler time. And it makes me very happy. Even just showing them to you, it makes me very happy. And I thank you for letting me share that with you. So I think this is just a really important reminder that if there are things that you truly love, okay, that you can't bear to give away, or separate yourself from, you need to think about, do you truly love it? Will you use it? Because if you're not going to use it, if it's going to sit in a storage unit for 3 months, if it's going to sit under your bed, if it's going to sit in the closet, then it's time to lose it, because there's other items that you could be using and having and taking care of and be a part of your life that would make your life easier. Okay, so if we can go back to the slides, we can keep talking about the use it, love it, use it, lose it. And just to keep on this topic, you need to also remember that using this time to even create your legacy gifts, should you have items that you are ready to pass on to family members, there's no time like the present. Okay. And I received these dishes literally right after excuse me, right after my husband's grandmother passed. And it meant even more to me because unfortunately my father passed 2 days after her. So and there was just so much joy in our family with cooking and the memories that it made things a lot easier for me. So think about that, the love it, the use it, the lose it. But any system that you have in order to send these items to other people and part ways with items that you're not using anymore, any system that you feel comfortable with will work. So part of our conversation here is that Arbor has agreed to give you a gift. And part of the gift is a free room rover. The room rover is, again, it's a home walkthrough, and you would have a Moves for Seniors professional transition specialist help you. So it's very easy, again, and we are thrilled to be able to make this offer to you. All you would have to do is contact your Arbor sales team member, and schedule. And then, of course, if you have questions, you can contact me. This is my direct number and my email. I'm always happy to help. I wanted to also add to all of you that, again, I know that it sounds like it would be difficult to visualize your items going into your new community, but there is so much that can be done to make you comfortable and to make you feel like you are at home. It's very important that you ask for help and not be worried that you're asking too many questions. To me, these are your things, okay? These are items that you have worked your whole life for, okay? You have your memories and you have your family, and you want to continue all of that and the way that you live. And we all, everyone here, wants you to continue and live the way that you would like to live. I do believe that I spoke a little more quickly than I expected to. Chalk it up to a little bit of nerves. So we do have a lot of time for questions and answers, and I certainly appreciate all of your time. I'm looking forward to speaking with you and answering any questions you may have, and I would like to turn it back over to Melissa so that she can be with us and see what we can take care of for everyone.
Great job, Gina. Just really good information there for everybody that's watching. And this is a great time, guys, if you have some questions based on what you've heard so far, to hit up the chat box. Scroll down to the bottom of the screen and it will say ask a question. Feel free to type it in and hit post, and everybody will be able to see that question. And hopefully Gina will be able to answer it answer it correctly and answer it to your satisfaction today. If not, of course, you can contact Moves for Seniors after the fact. Let Gina know you caught this webinar, and she and her staff can certainly help you out on that end as well. So let's go ahead and get into our questions. Our first question comes from Phyllis. And Gina, Phyllis wants to know, is there a transition specialist in Miami? And I think this is a good time to sort of point out that Moves for Seniors is kind of everywhere, right?
Correct. So Moves for Seniors is in 48 states. Okay, so yes, the answer to your question is yes, there are transition specialists in Miami. We have vendors, we work with transition specialists, organizers, move managers. Sometimes they're called move managers in different areas. There's kind of like a different vernacular in different states. And we are able to put you in touch with a move manager that is local to you, okay? Much like I am local to people in the Philly metro region, because I will go, throughout Philadelphia. I'm close to Delaware, I'm close to New Jersey. And much like I do, go into people's homes and meet you face to face and take a look at everything and help you with your plan. I even jump in on all the packing, the unpacking, the moving, the hanging of pictures. I do everything. It's very, it's all part of the plan, finding you someone that can help you. But should there not be someone directly local to you that can come immediately to get you started, that's why that Room Rover is so wonderful, because even if somebody is not on site in your home, or maybe you don't feel comfortable having someone in your home right now, which is totally understandable, we can use that Room Rover, and it truly does feel like that person, whether it's me or another move manager, it truly does feel like that person is in your home walking you through everything.
Yeah, and Arbor's throwing that in, guys,
Mhm.
just again to remind everybody, Arbor's throwing in that room rover. So if you have a move that's coming up, or, and I see someone has actually asked a question about a move coming
Mhm.
up within the year, you certainly want to jot that down and remember that. Great opportunity there. Now, I have a question from a couple of people, sort of the same question.
Okay.
We have one from Dan and from Miss Vega. And we also have one from, it just got bumped up from Joel. So they want to know, how do you sell a piano? How do you have
Mm,
suggestions for china that nobody wants, or
okay.
expensive art that maybe nobody wants? What do people do with these items?
So that's really great question. Pianos are difficult because the person that asked about the piano, or person's pianos, unfortunately, even though they are so wonderful and they're such a great piece of our culture, they don't have a wonderful resale value. So it's great to know that you have a piano and that you would like to sell it. If you can think about it though, pianos have to be moved by a piano mover, bottom line. So you will still be paying for a piano to be moved, regardless, outside of the scope of um, your actual move. Okay, it's like it's a separate thing. Piano movers are separate from your regular local or long distance mover. Um, and what I have found, and even in my own with my own family, that we actually had to go to the donation route for the piano, for my mother's piano. So it's, if you feel comfortable letting go of that piece, and donation is the way. There are schools, there are colleges, there are retirement communities that, or like communities that may like to have your piano on site, that you can investigate. And again, that is definitely something that a move manager could help you with, especially if it's somebody local. They may have a connection, and know the best place to send your piano, or even if your piano has more value, because some pianos do have more value than other types of pianos. So as I said, unfortunately, there isn't a great resale on piano, but there's usually a way to get it donated, but there is a fee attached. So I want you to remember that when you're donating the piano, you're still probably going to be charged a fee for it to be removed from your home.
Okay, so with the other items, again, the pieces
Yes.
of china or art, goes back to maybe tie into a couple of other questions we're
Right.
getting. Who are those who have listened and who
Mhm.
heard about the online auction or the
Right,
estate sale? Where,
right.
I mean, that sounds fantastic.
It is.
You
It's
don't have to have
wonderful.
people come through your home, and you are able to perhaps sell your items for a pretty penny, perhaps. So,
Right.
can you talk more about that aspect of
Yes,
this?
absolutely. So China and art are very they are definitely things that could be sold in an online auction. Online auctions, you do have to have a certain amount of items. We do like to look for at least 50 lots. So just to backtrack for a moment, a lot would be, for example, an entire set of china. Okay. In terms of art, maybe 3 or 4 pieces of art, perhaps by the same artist. That would be a lot. Maybe a set of crystal stemware. That could be a lot. Um, or going to, even on another end, would be perhaps you're getting rid of all of your kitchen items. You're done with cooking and you're ready to get rid of all of your pots and pans, all of your pots and pans with lids. That would be a lot. With the online auction, the way that they run, everything starts at $1 and the bids go up from there. And of course, I'd be happy to discuss that in further detail with anyone. But if you have at least 50 lots worth of items that you feel you would like to sell, an online auction is such a great way to go because, again, no one really needs to have to come, you don't have strangers coming in your home. You would have move managers organizing for you, getting your lots together, making sure that everything is presentable, taking pictures, uploading them to the auction site, and then there would just be one day of pickup for those items after the auction closed. So really the auction would only last between 11 to 14 days maximum. So you would have everything completed within 11 to 14 days, whereas an estate sale can take a lot longer. There's also a lot of chance of theft within an estate sale because you really do, you have people in your home walking around, touching your things. And then an estate sale can go longer because of pickup for these items. So the way that these auctions are run, it's very orderly. There's a total method to it, and it's a very successful and wonderful way to know that your items are not going in a landfill and they're going to somebody who truly loves them and wants them.
Now, just to finish up this particular question, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, Gina, I was surprised to hear that some of these online auctions are local, correct? So people in your community are
Correct.
perhaps the people that are going to pick up your items. So it actually stays in the community, correct?
Correct. All the items, the way that the online auction works, nothing's being shipped out of your home. So the way that they work, everything is being bid on from people that are local because on the day of the pickup, everything gets picked up on the same day and is removed from the home. So there's not constantly, a stream of people in and out of the home. And that's really important right now, right? And so they're local buyers. So it is staying in your community, absolutely.
That's great. Excellent. And I know there will probably be a lot of people who have very specific questions they may want to ask on that end. This is where we say we hope we've answered at least or touched the surface of answering some of your questions, but certainly the consultation with Moves
Mhm.
for Seniors is free, correct, Gina?
That is correct. The consultation is free. I'm always available, especially through email. It's quick, it's easy, it's painless, um,
Hmm.
and I can go on and on. Obviously, you've heard me talk, so I can go on and I'm happy to look things up and put you at ease about your move. That this all can be done, and very often, Melissa, I think I told you before, is that every time I walk into someone's home, they say, "Oh, you've never seen anything like this." And I just want everyone to know that not only do I not judge, um, I'm excited to see what you have. And and saying something like that to me makes me all the more want to help you. Okay. So, and I also want to tell you that, you know, I actually had to do this for my own mother. So when my father passed away, I became responsible for my own mother, who was she had to go into memory care. She had Alzheimer's. And I'm in the business. And it took me 2 years to get her house situated. And I'm in the business. This is what I do for a living. I've been doing this for a long, long time. So I don't want anybody to think that they're not going to be able to do it and that they're not going to be able to get to a resolution. I'm here to tell you, yes, there is a resolution and there is a place for everything. We just have to think calmly, and we just need to keep on planning, and we have to stick to our plan.
I have another question from Denise,
Sure.
and she wants to know if you don't know the floor plan of your new place yet, can you still get started with a moving specialist?
Absolutely. So even if you don't know your floor plan, you know you're taking a bed. right? You know, you're taking 2 end tables, you know, or 2 nightstands, most likely, a dresser, TV. Like, you know, like if you looked around your master bedroom, you know that what is going to have to go in order to keep you comfortable in your new home. Just like in the living room, you know you're going to need a sofa. You know you're going to need a piece of furniture to either hold the TV, or an extra cabinet space. If you want a table and chairs, there are pieces of furniture. And that's why I really like that floor plan that we use, because it gives you an idea. Those are the pieces that you truly do need. So if you think of those pieces right then and there, the move manager is going to be able to help you decide and go through your closet, for example, or if you have a garage. Okay, let's have the move manager go in your garage and see, you're not going to need any of those things anymore. Let's figure out how we're going to get those things placed, and so that you don't have to open that door every day and think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with these things? The move manager can help you start paring down your kitchen, because realistically, we usually say to think about taking half of your kitchen. I usually look at what people consider half and tell them to take half of that. So, absolutely, you do not need a floor plan just to get started with your downsizing and for starting to get organized. In fact, it's the best thing you can do. The sooner, the better.
Excellent. Okay, so a couple of questions here about the Room Rover. You've
Okay,
piqued a lot of interest here
great,
with the Room Rover.
great.
Lynn wants to know, is the Room Rover an app that her aunt could download on her phone, as she lives in a rural area? And maybe a second part to that question is, uh, we have somebody here, Janae, who wants to know, her grandmother lives in a different state, and she wants to be able to help. And I do believe that Moves for
Mhm,
Seniors, this is all virtual. She can
mhm.
help. Yes. So that's a two-part question.
Absolutely. Okay, so the first part of the question, um, the app, yes, can be downloaded onto an iPhone, and also to an Android. And we have specific directions. All it has to, it's as easy as downloading the app. You receive a text for a phone number. You call the phone number. It gets me or someone else like me on the other ends. You see us just like FaceTime. We spin the camera around, and then we can get started on our conversation. I understand about the rural area. We certainly can try. Um, and um, a lot of times, if I am having an issue with someone who is in a rural area, um, we just kind of troubleshoot as we go. So things can also be done with pictures. If your aunt was comfortable taking pictures and sending them through text, we can work with pictures. We can talk on the phone. We can talk through the pictures, and we also can work on finding a move manager in that area that could come out and talk through as well, so that none of our clients feel like they're alone in this. um, in terms of helping your grandmother that's in another state, if we can find someone, if you're not available, and it's too difficult for you to be on site, we can certainly find someone that could be on site with your grandmother to do a room rover if she was not able to. And the fact that the room rover is a video and it's downloaded, you would then be able to view the room rover at a later time, so that you would know how to assist and go through that video and help choose what should and should not go.
Okay, so Gina, we are coming up to the top of the hour. We've still got about 6 minutes left. So I want to get
Mhm.
in as many questions as I can here. We've still got a
Great.
few hanging out there.
Wonderful.
Gloria wants to know, she says, we are moving from New York to Texas. How do we decide whether to buy a new item or ship the old one in terms of cost? That is a great question.
Well, I will say, and I'm sure that Bob, who is on this call, the executive vice president of Moves for Seniors will not be happy with my response, but I am always thrilled to hear when somebody is buying themselves a new piece of furniture because I feel like you deserve it, okay? But there are pieces that I know that are near and dear to your heart. So the best way to decide would be to call and get an estimate. So the estimate is totally free. It's totally free to call into Moves for Seniors and to talk to one of our, to talk to one of our sales specialists and talk through with them the pieces of furniture that you want to send, that they would be able to get you an accurate estimate to help you make that decision. And really, sometimes it really does work out taking your current pieces with you. And then even if you only take some of them, it still will give you, it still will give you a great idea of how much it'll cost for you to go on that long distance state to state move.
Okay. And another thing that I'm sure you've seen in your many moves are photo albums. John wants to know what your suggestions are for managing photo albums. And I know a lot of people nowadays are digitizing everything.
Yes.
What do you suggest?
I suggest digitizing. There are a lot of companies also that you can send them out to digitize for you so that you don't become overwhelmed. I know that I have done many a move where somebody has come across a photo album and spent, instead of, getting things ready and getting things packed, they're sitting looking through their photo album instead of, getting organized for the pack. So the sooner that you can round up those photo albums and get them digitized, that truly is, Melissa, the best way to keep those memories, because this way, should other families want to share in your beautiful pictures, you can send them to them, and it's as easy as a touch of a button and really takes up no space.
Okay. Skipping back to the auctions, because we keep getting questions in on that.
Okay.
People want to know quickly how the auctions are advertised and how successful are they?
Okay, so the auctions are extremely successful. The company that we use does thousands and thousands of auctions a year, and the way that they are advertised online, because you figure it's an online auction, so it it will be advertised online. And believe me, people who frequent auctions, they know to look for these auctions. Okay, it's not necessarily a niche market, but it's definitely a market that people who, let's say they used to frequent flea markets, they know to go to these online auctions now instead, because those flea markets are no longer, those outside markets are no longer happening, or no longer able to be done, safely. So they know where to go to see these advertisements for the auction. And then also, if you did the auction, you'd be able to let your friends and family know as well. So, it's all done online.
Okay. And then the final question is cost. So people want to know what the cost for something like this would be. And that's really hard to pinpoint because every situation will be different. And of course, some of this is determined by states because it's regulated, correct?
Correct. So do you mean cost of a move itself, Melissa?
Yes, yes. The
Okay.
cost of all of this. Yes.
Yes. So um, the the moves are regulated state to state. So there is pricing for local move. A local move is charged by the hour. Okay. So what you would pay, just to give you a quick example, because I know the time is ticking, just to give you an idea, a local move is charged by the hour. So say it's estimated that it would take 5 hours for your move. You would be charged the hourly rate plus truck and travel. So for those 5 hours, okay. Should the time go over, you would be charged on the quarter hour. Should the time go under, you would be likewise refunded on the quarter hour. It just has to go by what the rate is in your area for a local move. If you were doing a long distance move, that's done a little differently. It has to do with how far you're going. So the distance is taken into consideration, and how many items you're taking. So that definitely is something that is kind of, we have to contact our long distance carrier to see what their rate would be for you specifically going from which state to which state. A local move is 50 miles or less, but anything over 300 miles is considered a long distance move.
Okay. Gina, you took us to the top of the hour. Fantastic job today. A lot of great information, and we got a lot of great questions from you. So thank you all for contributing here to this conversation today. We know we did not get to all of your questions, but guess what, guys? Again, the consultation with Gina and Moves for Seniors is free. So if you have any more questions that are maybe a little bit more specific, feel free to contact them, movesforseniors.com. Gina Holsopple, awesome job today. Thank you so much for the time. And for all of you who maybe joined us a little bit late, you can catch this webinar and all of our related senior living content on www.seniorlivinglive.com. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. As always, have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.